Before there was Cronkite, Uncle Milty, or I Love Lucy, there was Philo T. Farnsworth, the inventor of television.
He said, "I'm sorry I had anything to do with it."
Stay tuned for the story of the man who was tuned out. Saturday marks the 64th anniversary of an invention that, for better or worse, changed the world forever: television. But while more than 98% of American homes now have TV sets, few people know the name of the man who started it all. Henry Schipper has his story.
Beautiful colored TV.
It's arguably the most influential invention of the 20th century, the all-seeing, endlessly chattering, utterly pervasive eye and voice of modern times.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Strangely, most people have no idea who invented TV.
Invented television. And I'm in the business.
I haven't got the slightest. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Somebody who didn't get credit for it, I guess. I don't know.
Indeed, Philo T. Farnsworth, the creator of electronic television, hasn't gotten a lot of credit.
We will call him simply Dr. X. Now, Doctor, if you will whisper your secret to me, we will show it at the same time to the folks out there.
Incredibly, Farnsworth figured out the theory behind sending images through the air in 1922 when he was just 14. The inspiration came to him in a flash while plowing the family farm. This sketch of his brainstorm, saved by an astonished high school science teacher, was used in patent hearings years later to confirm Farnsworth's invention.
He said, "We're going to be millionaires." He said, this will be so important to everybody.
On September 7th, 1927, in this San Francisco warehouse, 21-year-old Farnsworth turned theory into practice, using electrons to send an image of a single horizontal line from one end of his lab to another. With that modest transmission, the age of television was launched.
He got the line, and he got it a little sharper, and then he stood back and he said, "There you have it, folks, television."
Farnsworth never imagined it would take nearly 20 more years for commercial television to take hold. He was soon televising people. His wife, Pem, was the first person to appear on the tube, and by the early 30s he had a picture that approached current standards. But not everyone was thrilled to see an upstart inventor hold the inside track on the billion-dollar future of communications. The big corporations that controlled radio were racing to develop television systems of their own, and RCA, headed by the legendary David Sarnoff, was determined one way or another to head Farnsworth off at the pass.
David Sarnoff, he challenged anybody. And it was his business, and he felt that television belonged to the Radio Corporation, and he pursued it as best he could.
Sarnoff sent Dr. Vladimir Zworykin, a pioneer of early TV technology, to visit the Farnsworth lab for 3 days in 1930.
When he saw the first picture, he said, "Beautiful. I wish I'd have invented it myself."
Apparently, so did RCA, which filed a patent claim against Farnsworth, arguing that his work merely duplicated Zworykin's. A judge upheld all the Farnsworth patents.
And from there on, things got a little hairy, because from there on, the RCA patent department made sure that Philo's patents were subjects of interferences, and I don't want to use the word harassment, but that probably is the biggest word I can use.
The stalemate lasted until 1939, when RCA, desperate to begin TV production, finally gave up the patent fight and licensed Farnsworth's inventions for $1 million plus royalties.
That television program service.
That year, Sarnoff, with great fanfare, introduced television at the New York World's Fair. The exhibit, which broadcast a speech by President Roosevelt, is generally regarded as the beginning of commercial TV, not by Farnsworth. His long battle with Sarnoff had left serious scars.
All of these disappointments and things that he suffered, he kept within himself so much that it finally led to a nervous breakdown. And we went to Maine for 8 years.
He did get a raw deal. It's tough when you're an enemy of David Sarnoff. I would not, of all the people in this world, I would not like to be. I'd be an enemy of his.
Farnsworth eventually opened his own TV plant in 1939, but World War II put a temporary end to television. When it was over, the Farnsworth factory produced a few thousand sets, but closed in 1948 from underfinancing. By that time, the 17-year patents on most of Farnsworth's inventions had run out, and were now available for free to RCA and anyone else. With TV exploding around the world, Farnsworth would not make another penny from the billion-dollar industry he did so much to create. You'd think that the wife and the family of the man who invented television would be incredibly wealthy and live in a vast estate. In fact, Mrs. Philo T. Farnsworth lives here in this small home in Salt Lake City. Her sole sources of income are Social Security and a small pension from her husband's last job.
You know, if you had a nickel for every TV set that was sold, you wouldn't have to worry about paying your taxes.
Does that ever bug you?
Yes, indeed. I live on a small pension, and it's down to the... It's a little hard sometimes.
By the end of the 50s, the name Philo T. Farnsworth had become so obscure that he was asked to appear on I've Got a Secret. His secret, of course, was that he had invented TV. His reward for stumping the panel? $80 and a carton of cigarettes. Farnsworth, who died in 1971, watched TV take over the world with mixed emotions.
There was a lot that was just drivel. He felt that it was such a shame that they didn't make better use of the airtime to bring something really meaningful to people. And he said, "I'm sorry I had anything to do with it."
And we're getting a picture on the TV.
Farnsworth, who dreamed of traveling in outer space, felt better about television when it delivered these stunning images in 1969.
When he saw Neil Armstrong land on the moon, he turned to me and he said, "Pam, this makes it all worthwhile."
There is some justice, even if it's late. Pam Farnsworth just made a six-figure deal for a movie about her husband.